Hello my pixel people, I am the Pixel Monster and welcome to a quick look at Paranautical Activity. I actually was introduced to this game by another channel on YouTube by the name of Unit Lost. They're another British PC gaming channel basically, so I'd definitely check them out. And what this game is basically, in very simple terms, is first person Binding of Isaac, if you know what that means. This is the beta version available on Desura for £3.99. So it's not exactly the cheapest thing in the world. Before we jump into it, I'm going to just warn you, the music is horrendous. I have never seen or heard, should I say, a game with such bad music. But we're going to jump into it and I'll talk to you a little bit about the game itself and my thoughts and opinions. So let's do that right now. Okay, hopefully you can hear me above the music. So I have spawned in now in a square room, like Binding of Isaac. Obviously the up and down isn't as important, and the weapon that I've got in my hand right now is basically like the plasma gun from the pulse gun, should I say, from Unreal Tournament, or the plasma gun from Quake. It's not too bad, it's not too powerful, but it looks cool. You got to admit, it does look very cool. So you can spawn off with a random weapon, and I believe in this beta there are only 4 weapons, which is a little bit disappointing, and this is going to be a ongoing theme throughout this video. Unfortunately, there are some really good ideas, so I'm not dissing the game completely, but I will explain as we go forward. So what happens is we go into these rooms, and these rooms will spawn some bad guys. We kill them bad guys, pick up their loot, and then carry on to the next room. So we'll do that now. First off, so we've got this big guy here where we just totally fry his ass. It's not really going to be much of a problem. This is a heart. As you can see in the bottom left hand corner, I have got 6 out of 6 hearts, and underneath that is armor, which I've got 0 of currently, and I've got 1 bomb and $3. And I collect these stuff as I go and fight. So also, the minimap is kind of like the Binding of Isaac. You go from room to room, and as you get into that room, you get to see what are in the rooms adjacent to you. So we'll do this now. Let's hopefully find a shop. I'm not a fan of this weapon, to be honest. It's a cool looking weapon, but it's possibly the worst weapon in the game, to be honest. One thing that I would have to say is a little bit of a negative about this game in its current state is the balance is quite off, to be honest. I mean, you can pick up an assault rifle, which you don't pay for your weapons in shops, you just get to switch them out for free. Pick up an assault rifle, which does around the same amount of damage, except it's instant hit scan with no reload. So, as you can tell, this has got a big disadvantage in comparison. Sure, the actual shots are a little bit bigger, but the travel speed can be quite frustrating against faster moving enemies. But I suppose that is the whole idea of a roguelike game. Things are a little bit random, and just like Binding of Isaac in general, you can end up with a really powerful setup straight off the bat, because in the first couple of rooms you get some really good upgrades. And I'm assuming that this is going to be pretty much the same. One thing that is missing from the original Binding of Isaac kind of mechanics is secret rooms. I've not found any secret rooms yet. I have tested it, I don't think that they even exist. So there is no amazing star items currently in this build. Bear in mind, beta is beta. So this is the red room, this is the boss room. When I go in there, I fight a boss, but I want to see if I can pick up a better weapon, because this one is not ideal. So we're back at the start. So we go through here, then to the right. Come on, son. Fight me, bro. These big things take a lot of damage. Well, they've got a lot of HP, should I say. But these floaty things, they've got homing missiles, which can be a pain in the arse. And they can be quite hard to hit with a weapon which isn't that predictable, such as this, which I'm just going to call a chain pulse gun or whatever. I don't know. Oh yeah, by the way, these are explosive barrels, as you've probably already noticed. And they do damage to anything that is around them when they explode. So I've taken my first chunk of damage so far, which just removed one of my armors, which isn't too bad. Blow that up. blow that up, and then hit this guy. Pick up all the gold coins. All the gold coins that belong to me. This game is built using Unity, I believe, well, based off the launcher itself. You get a few graphical options. Well, you get better. You get good, better, best, basically. Come on, die. What are you doing, mate? What are you doing? You look trapped. I'll take all your shizzle. Where is this shop? Again, because it is randomly generated, even the order of the rooms is randomly generated, so sometimes you can spawn right next to the shop and other times you've got to go on a long walk. We found it now, it's just to the left of me. Stop shooting at me. Currently in the beta, one thing that I would have to mention, if I'm being totally fair, is it feels quite repetitive, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, Binding of Isaac was very repetitive. You go into one room, and then you go into the next room, then the next room, and you probably fight 3 different kinds of bad guys. Sometimes with only 1 or 2 bad guys, which are really easy to kill, and other times you'd fight a really hard room. And I suppose it's kind of the same here. So I've got the plasma gun, which I've got, or the crossbow. So I'll take the crossbow, which you charge up, and it flies slowly. But anyway, what I was saying is, as we walk down towards the boss now, is... I can't even remember what I was saying, guys. I'm having a brain fart. I was saying that, yeah, it can be quite repetitive. The rooms, even though they're laid out slightly different, the idea is always the same. And it was in Binding of Isaac. However, Binding of Isaac seemed to... not feel faster necessarily, just... I don't know how to explain it, guys. This just doesn't feel as interesting. I think a lot of this comes through the difficulty. So we'll just go and kill this bad guy now, and then we'll... as you can see, this crossbow is very powerful because this guy's supposed to be a boss. And he's already dead. And he spits out these little spider things, which are quite cool because they're fast and they do damage. You can just spam this like so. Come on, come at me, son. Come at me, son. And then you get your boss pick up like you do in Binding of Isaac as well. And I know that it's not fair to keep comparing this to Binding of Isaac, but I think that I would be lying to myself if I said that this game was not completely based off Binding of Isaac, except it's in a first-person view. And I'll be totally honest, guys, I have wanted that for so long. I started playing Binding of Isaac about 6 months ago, and ever since then I was like, oh, I wish this was a first-person version of this. I don't know, I love the rogue-style gameplay where you can go through a game and pick up different things again and again, and you just end up with a unique build, so it never feels the same. Unfortunately, because this is a beta, there's actually not much of a game here, in all honesty. I mean, there are 3 bosses, 4 weapons, and for instance, I could go straight into this boss room now, and I would beat him because this weapon that I've got is really powerful. And there's only 4 weapons, and every shop I've been in has got 1 or 2 weapons, so you normally get it in this shop, so I'll just show you. So for this, we're just going to spam. And there we go. Boss is dead. Done. Fast and, unfortunately, very, very easy. We're actually just going to clear up a few of these rooms now as well. Just so I can show you how little things have changed from the first level to the second level. So far, I have only encountered 1, 2, 3 types of enemies, 4 types of enemies. So you got the flying ones, you got the big beastie kind of minotaur things, and you've got these little things that you've seen me shooting already, like little imps. And then later on you get some exploding bombs. That's not including the bosses, obviously, and the enemies which the bosses spit out. This is the exploding one, as you can see now. So I want you to come close to me. Come on. It looks like he's stuck. Which is something I can forgive, as it is a beta. but we'll take a hit off him. Bang. Again, not a lot of damage, just 1 armor. A little bit easy, to be honest. I do actually hope that this game works out a lot better than what it's currently looking like. I do believe that with the right amount of work and originality in here, like enough weapons and enough power-ups and definitely a whole lot more different enemies, because even though, I mean, right now, like I said, there's 4 random enemies, but if you was to add, let's say, 4 more into this beta right now, as it is, with just 3 levels basically, and the 3 bosses and the 4 weapons, if you added 4 more enemy types, just think of the amount of combinations that would allow you to have in each room. So things would be drastically different. And I still think the biggest issue of all, out of everything I've spoken about so far, is difficulty. I have played this through, this is my 4th playthrough now, and I have never once died. Which in a roguelike game, as simple as it is right now and only 3 levels, that's not good. A roguelike game should be kicking my ass. I should get a bad spawn, many different items which just don't help me out, and I should be struggling to actually progress through each level, and maybe going into a room with only 2 hearts and panicking a little bit. But because of the abundance of hearts and armor and how powerful some of these weapons actually are, see, more armor, you never feel any urgency, and I think that is probably the biggest flaw in the game right now. And unless they make it substantially more difficult, then I'm afraid I don't think it's actually going to interest anybody. Look at it, it's trying to get me. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Thank you. So I missed the shop. We'll go over to the shop now, see if there's anything that I can buy for 22222. Or 222, should I say. So yeah, I've got bombs which I haven't showed you yet, which because of the skull that I got was floating bombs. And what can we get here? We can get spinach for 250, spring for 150. Let's use the spring. Jump higher. Wow, a lot higher. So as you can imagine, with the right amount of power-ups, you could end up with a crazy, fast, jumping around, flying even build with some crazy rocket launcher which does damage to yourself, and enemies which have got 5 times more HP than what these enemies have currently got. And then maybe you would have an interesting game. I got this before. What this does is give me double the amount of HP, but much slower movement speed, which doesn't make sense to me right now because I'm moving quite fast and I'm hardly getting hit. So why would I take that? You wouldn't. If I could afford speed boots, I could cancel the negative out, then it'd end up a beneficial pickup for me. But oh, I say that and I'll start taking a beating off something. I'm gonna die like an idiot. Oh no, I'm not. Plenty of pickups again. Alright, so the final boss is just over here anyway. We might as well just end this now, guys, because I think you're getting the idea of what the game is. So again, this crossbow is so powerful. Surely they understand that it's harder to hit with, so maybe that's the reason why they've done it. But in general, it still doesn't make sense. I've got wings, so I can tap to fly, which means I shouldn't have got the springs, to be honest, because now my amount of bounce is quite high. A little bit off-putting. So I've basically completed the beta now. If I went down the elevator, it'd end and take me to the credits, but I'll quickly show you this weapon, which doesn't seem to want to work. There we go. So this is quite weak, but it's very accurate and instant hit. Not that that matters, right? And I'm gonna die because I'm flying around like a lunatic. Okay, we've got enough hearts. Back up to 5 again. It's nice and easy. Epileptic. Let's go and spawn some grenades and leave the video here, guys. Grenades! Oh! Yeah, that dropped my FPS just a little bit, to be honest. See, what are these guys gonna do? What are you doing, son? Dance! Dance! Epileptic. Anyway, guys, I have been the Pixel Monster. Don't forget to slap that subscribe button for some more PC gaming goodness. Like the video if you like the video, and I will catch you again very soon. But let's see what happens when we do die. So easy to die, but you can move so easily. You always live. See you later, guys. Peace out. Bye-bye.